In the heart of a busy city stood a tall glass building. Inside, workers typed fast, phones rang loud, and no one had time to smile. Among them was Lena, a quiet woman who worked as an office assistant for a big company called Grant Corporation. She was kind, but invisible. Most people didn't even notice her. Every day, Lena arrived early and stayed late. She cleaned up after meetings, delivered coffee, and made copies. No one said thank you. Still, she smiled. She believed in doing good, even when no one watched. One evening, as the sun disappeared and the sky turned gray, a heavy rain began to fall. Workers rushed outside with umbrellas. Cars splashed through puddles. People hurried home. Lena was the last to leave. She pulled her small coat tight and walked toward the bus stop behind the building. But something made her stop. In the dark alley next to the parking lot, she saw something, or someone, lying on the ground. She walked closer. There, on the wet pavement, was an old man, soaked from head to toe. His clothes were torn, his hands shaking. His hair was white and messy. People had passed him, stepping over his legs. Some stared, but no one helped. Lena felt her heart sink. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked softly. The man didn't answer. His lips were blue from the cold. His breathing was slow. He looked weak and very sick. Lena looked around. No one stopped. No one cared. She dropped to her knees beside him. "Sir, don't worry. I'll help you," she whispered. Without thinking twice, she took off her own coat and gently placed it over his body. The rain soaked through her shirt, but she didn't care. She picked up her phone and called for an ambulance. While waiting, she ran across the street and bought hot soup and bread from a small shop. She knelt beside him again and held the spoon near his mouth. "Please try a little. It's warm," she said. His hands trembled as he took a bite. He didn't say anything, but his eyes, tired and wise, stayed on her face. There was pain in them, but something more. A strange light, a quiet knowing. The ambulance lights flashed blue and red in the distance. 2 paramedics jumped out and rushed over. "What happened?" one asked. "I just found him here. He needs help," Lena said. They carefully lifted the old man onto a stretcher. He winced in pain but didn't speak. As they wheeled him toward the ambulance, the old man suddenly turned his head and looked at Lena one more time. He opened his mouth, and though his voice was weak, his words were clear. "You'll see me again, soon." Then he closed his eyes. Lena stood in the rain, heart pounding. The paramedics drove away, and she was left alone under the dark sky. Next morning, the next day, everything felt strange. Lena tried to focus on work, but her mind kept going, back to the old man. Who was he? Why did he say she'd see him again? When she told her co-workers what happened, they laughed. "You helped a dirty street man?" one woman said, wrinkling her nose. "Probably drunk," said another. "You wasted your money." Lena said nothing. But deep inside, something felt different. That moment in the rain, it wasn't normal. There was something about the way the man looked at her, as if he knew her, as if he was watching something more than just her face. It had been 4 days since Lena helped the old man in the rain. The memory of his weak voice still echoed in her mind. "You'll see me again, soon." But Lena didn't know what that meant. She hadn't seen him again. There was no news, no thank you, not even a phone call from the hospital. He had just vanished. At work, everything was the same. She walked through the glass doors of Grant Corporation, holding her lunch in a paper bag. The lobby was shiny, cold, and filled with people too busy to notice her. But today, something felt off. People were whispering. Lena could hear low voices near the elevators. "Did you hear what happened this morning? No one knew he was coming. I heard he arrived in a private car with a full security team. Why would he visit this building? It doesn't make sense." She stepped into the elevator with 3 other workers. They kept talking like she wasn't even there. One of the top floors was cleared out. For who? They said, someone very important is back, like top level. Lena frowned. This kind of thing never happened here. Grant Corporation was one of the biggest companies in the country. It had hundreds of workers, strict rules, and cold leadership. The CEO was rarely seen. The board members were names on doors, not faces in the hallway. But now something big was happening, and no one knew why. A strange meeting by lunch. Lena was typing quietly in the back office, sorting documents into folders. Her manager, Ms. Crane, stood up suddenly. You, she said, pointing at Lena. Come with me. Lena froze. Had she done something wrong? She followed her boss through the hallway. They took a private elevator she had never used before. Her heart beat faster. Ms. Crane didn't explain anything. She just walked fast, her heels tapping on the tile floor. They reached a large glass conference room. The door opened, and Lena stepped inside. To her shock, there were only 2 people in the room. A man in a navy suit stood near the window, looking out at the city skyline. He was younger than she expected, maybe in his late 30s. He looked calm, powerful, rich, and next to him in a wheelchair sat a very familiar face. The old man. Clean now, hair brushed, dressed in fine clothes, eyes alert. Lena gasped. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. You, she whispered. The old man smiled slowly. Told you I'd see you again. A secret revealed ems. Crane looked confused. You 2 know each other? Lena nodded, still shocked. I helped him, in the rain, last week. The younger man stepped forward. Miss Lena, allow me to introduce you. This is Mr. Harold Grant, the original founder of Grant Corporation. Lena nearly dropped the folder in her hands. Wait, what? Yes, the man continued. Most people thought he died 10 years ago, but he was very much alive, just sick and in hiding. Lena stared at the old man. She remembered the cold rain, the way he shivered, the way no one cared. She had no idea he was the owner of everything around her. Mr. Grant spoke, his voice stronger than before. I left my company in others' hands, but not all of them were honest. I wanted to see for myself if people here still had good hearts. So I came back, as nothing. A sick, poor old man in the rain, just to see what would happen. His, eyes locked with hers. And out of hundreds of workers, only you stopped to help me. You gave me your coat. You fed me. You stayed. You didn't know who I was. And still, you chose kindness. The twist begins. Lena's mouth was dry. She didn't know what to say. The younger man smiled. Mr. Grant was deeply moved. That's why you're here. He asked to see you personally. Mr. Grant nodded. Lena, your life is about to change. You may still think you're just an assistant, but I believe you're more. I have one last thing to do before I go, and I want you to be a part of it. Lena blinked, confused. Go? Go where? Mr. Grant didn't answer. Instead, he looked out the window again. Quiet. The younger man spoke. He doesn't have much time left. The illness is spreading. But before he goes, he plans to clean this company of its lies. And he wants you beside him. Lena couldn't sleep that night. She lay in her small apartment staring at the ceiling, still trying to understand what had happened. The old man, the one she helped in the rain, was Harold Grant, the founder of the massive company she worked for. He wasn't just rich. He was a billionaire. And he had chosen her. I want you beside me, he had said. I want you to help me fix what's broken. But what did that mean? The secret assignment. The next morning, Lena got a message. On her phone, a private car was waiting outside. No uniform. No explanation. Just a black car with dark windows. Nervous but curious, she got in. The ride was quiet. 20 minutes later, the car pulled up to a tall building on the other side of the city. It was one of Grant Corporation's side offices. Smaller, less clean, often forgotten. The driver opened the door. "Mr. Grant is waiting." Lena walked in and was greeted by the younger man from yesterday. "Good morning, Lena. My name is Daniel, Mr. Grant's right hand. From now on, I'll be your guide." He handed her a file. "This is your first assignment. You're going undercover as a temp worker in this branch. No one knows who you really are. You'll see everything, hear everything, and report it only to me." Lena frowned. "Why me?" Daniel smiled. "Because when you thought no one was watching, you were kind. That's the kind of person Mr. Grant trusts." A broken branch, Inside of the side office was different from the main one. The lights flickered. The air was tense. Lena sat at a small desk in the corner. No one greeted her. No one smiled. The manager, Mr. Blake, was loud and rude. He barked orders, slammed drawers, and talked down to the staff. Lena noticed that the workers were scared of him. They barely made eye contact. Later that day, she saw something even worse. An older employee, a kind man named Tom, made a small mistake in a report. Mr. Blake screamed at him in front of everyone. "You're useless. Maybe you should retire before you embarrass this company again." Tom's hands shook. His eyes watered. He quietly returned to his seat. Lena felt something burn in her chest. Anger. She wanted to speak up. But she remembered Daniel's words. "Observe, don't interfere. We need to see the truth." So she wrote everything down. That night, she sent a private report to Daniel. Days passed. Lena continued working undercover. She started to see more signs of abuse and corruption. Workers were underpaid but afraid to ask questions. Promotions were given to favorites, not the hardworking. Office supplies were being stolen and sold outside. A few workers were secretly using company time for personal business. One evening, she found a file on Mr. Blake's desk, unguarded and half open. She glanced at it and froze. It was a list of fake employees, names that didn't exist, yet were being paid, fraud, theft, lies. She quietly took a photo and sent it to Daniel. He replied within seconds, "Good work. Do not confront him. This is bigger than we thought." Unexpected visitors. The next day, the atmosphere in the office changed. Everyone was tense. Even Mr. Blake seemed on edge. Then at 3 p.m. sharp, the elevator doors opened. 2 security guards stepped out, followed by Mr. Harold Grant himself, in a wheelchair. Looking tired but alert, everyone froze. People stared, whispered, and stood straighter. Mr. Grant spoke in a calm but powerful voice. "No need to stop working on my account. Just observing." He glanced at Lena and gave her a small nod. No one noticed, but she felt it. Her heart beat faster. Something big was about to happen. Lena arrived at the office early the next morning. The sky was still dark, the city quiet. But something felt different. As she sat at her desk, she noticed whispers behind her back. Cold stares. A file missing from her drawer. Someone new. She didn't say anything. She just smiled, pretended. Everything was normal. But inside, her heart raced. She had been working undercover for almost 2 weeks now, quietly collecting evidence of fraud, abuse, and corruption in the branch office. All of it to help the dying billionaire, Mr. Harold Grant, and fix what was broken in his empire. But now someone was watching her. Someone didn't want her there. The office turns cold. The day moved slowly. Mr. Blake, the cruel manager, didn't yell that morning. Instead, he smiled too much. He stared too long. He called Lena to his office, alone. "You've been doing good work," he said with a forced grin. "Too good for a temp, if you ask me." Lena stayed calm. "I just try to do my job, sir." He leaned closer. "You know, people like you don't last long here. So don't go poking around where you don't belong." There was silence. Lena stood and walked out, but her hands were trembling. Back at her desk, she found a note taped under her keyboard. It had no name, no signature, just one sentence. We know who you are. A dangerous game. That night, Lena met Daniel in their usual secret spot, a rooftop garden above a closed cafe. She showed him the note. Daniel's face turned serious. "You've been careful?" "Yes. I didn't talk to anyone. I only sent reports through the private channel." Daniel nodded. "There's a mole inside, someone close to Mr. Grant, but working for Blake." Lena's stomach turned. "You mean someone is betraying Mr. Grant?" "Worse," Daniel said. "They want him gone, for good." Lena sat in silence. Then Daniel handed her a small flash drive. "It's time to hit harder. Tomorrow, take this. Connect it to Blake's office computer. It'll copy everything." Lena looked up. "What if I get caught?" Daniel looked her in the eyes. "Then you walk away, or you stand and fight. Mr. Grant trusted you. It's your choice now." The office trap. The next morning, Lena was ready. She wore her simplest clothes, tied her hair back, and tucked the flash drive inside her sleeve. Everyone was busy. Phones were ringing, reports flying. She walked casually toward Blake's office. He wasn't there. Heart pounding, Lena slipped inside. She found the desktop. Plugged in the drive. It started loading. 10%, 25%. But just as it reached 40%, she heard the sound. Footsteps. Fast. Angry. Blake was coming. Lena panicked. She pulled the drive out too quickly. The screen blinked. The system froze. She rushed out the back door just as Blake entered from the front. He glanced around. His eyes narrowed. Who was in here? No answer. But Lena knew. She had almost been caught. The warning, that evening when she returned to her apartment, she found her front door slightly open. Her breath caught. She stepped inside carefully. Nothing. Looked touched. But her drawers were half open. Her notebook was gone. Her personal laptop was on the floor. There was another note on the table. This one read, "You should have walked away." She backed out slowly, heart racing, and called Daniel. He arrived within the hour, along with 2 quiet security men. They swept the apartment, checked everything, installed new locks. Daniel looked at Lena with concern. "You've made enemies now, real ones. We can pull you out." But Lena shook her head. "No. If they're this scared, it means we're close." "I'm not quitting now." Daniel smiled. "Then we protect you, and we finish this." The next morning, Lena walked into the office with quiet strength in her steps. She didn't smile. She didn't speak much. Something had changed in her. She was no longer just a kind assistant. She was now the key to exposing a dangerous secret inside a billion-dollar company. And someone knew it. The office air felt thick. Eyes followed her. Whispers rose and fell. But Lena kept her head down. She had a job to finish. A stranger's kindness. That afternoon, as Lena was walking to the copier room, a woman she barely knew stopped her. It was Mia, a cleaner who worked the night shift. She looked around quickly before slipping a folded note into Lena's hand. "Be careful. He knows." Before Lena could ask more, Mia walked away. Lena opened the note in the bathroom stall. It read, "Someone from security gave Blake a photo of you with Daniel. They're planning something." Her hands began to shake. She had been seen, followed. But by who? The trap closes. Later that evening, Lena received a message from Daniel. "Meet me at the usual place. Urgent." But this time something felt off. She reached the rooftop garden. But Daniel wasn't there. Instead, she found a phone on the bench. It began to ring. She picked it up slowly. "You should have stayed quiet," a deep voice said. "Now we'll show you what happens to little girls who play spy." Before she could respond, the call ended. Her legs felt weak. Was Daniel in danger? Or was this a trap? She rushed home, heart pounding. When she reached her door, it was already open. Inside, everything was gone. Laptop, files, photos. All proof had been taken. On the wall, in red marker, one word was written: enough. The billionaire makes a move at the hospital. Mr. Harold Grant was watching everything closely. Daniel had been quiet since the last report. Lena's location was no longer safe. They've made their move, Mr. Grant said. He turned to his lawyer and handed him a sealed envelope. Release this to the press if anything happens to Lena. Also, inform the board I'm coming back. The old man's eyes glowed with fire again. The secret meeting. That night, Lena met Daniel in a secret parking lot far outside the city. He had scratches on his face and his jacket was torn. They found me, he said. They followed us. But I got this before they could stop me. He handed her a new flash drive. All the proof we need. Email records, payment transfers, names. Lena stared at it. It's time, isn't it? Daniel nodded. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Mr. Grant will appear on live stream. You'll be right there beside him. Lena took a deep breath. Let's end this. The sun rose slowly over the city, but inside the Grant Corporation, storm clouds were building. Lena stood in the elevator, heading to the top floor, the boardroom. Her hands were cold, but her heart was steady. Today was the day everything would change. The truth would come out, or she would fall trying. A room full of power. When the elevator opened, 12 powerful board members sat around a long glass table. They were dressed in expensive suits, their faces calm, but their eyes were sharp et asur. The head of the table sat Marcus Blake, the chief security officer. He leaned back in his chair, smiling as if nothing had happened. Lena, we've been expecting you, he said. She walked in, holding a folder and a flash drive. I'm not here alone, she replied. Suddenly, the large screen behind them flickered on. Mr. Harold Grant's face appeared. Live from the hospital. Good morning, gentlemen, he said. Let's not waste time. Truth hits like a bomb. Lena plugged in the flash drive. Files, charts, emails, voice recordings, everything started to play. The room grew quiet. Marcus's smile faded. The board members looked at each other, nervous. One of them stood up, Mr. Allen, a powerful executive with a calm voice. This can't be real, he said. But Lena wasn't finished. Mr. Blake created fake accounts. Money was stolen. Private data was sold. She pointed to the screen where documents showed Blake's signature. And he didn't work alone, she added. Look at this transaction. It leads to Mr. Allen's private account. Gasps filled the room. Mr. Allen turned pale. Lies, he shouted. She's just a maid pretending to be a hero. But then came a twist. A familiar face returns. The door opened suddenly. A woman in a black suit walked in. She's not pretending, the woman said, and I can prove it. It was Detective Laura Green, a special investigator who had worked with Mr. Grant years ago. She placed a thick folder on the table. We've been watching this company for months, she said. Miss Lena helped us connect the final dots. She turned to Lena and nodded. Because of her, justice will finally be served. 2 officers entered and handcuffed Marcus Blake. Mr. Allen tried to run, but security was already blocking the doors. You thought no one would notice a poor girl helping an old man, Mr. Grant said from the screen. But kindness is powerful, and Lena just saved everything I built. A message to the world. The scene cut live to the press waiting outside. Mr. Grant continued speaking. From this day forward, I'm giving Khan. Lena stood in front of the tall, polished office door. Her name was on the golden plate, Lena Adams, CEO. She still couldn't believe it. Just weeks ago, she was bringing coffee, cleaning tables, and helping an old man in the rain. Now, she held the future of the Grant Corporation in her hands. Her first day as CEO, the office was beautiful, full of light and space. But Lena didn't sit at the big desk right away. Instead, she opened the window and looked out at the city. She remembered Mr. Grant's last words. Lead with kindness, and it's the most powerful thing we have. And she promised herself, She would never forget that, not even with power, not even with money. Challenges begin again. Later that morning, Lena called a company-wide meeting. Thousands of employees gathered online and in the building. Some looked happy. Others were unsure. A few whispered behind her back. Can a former assistant really run this place? She doesn't even have an MBA. But Lena stepped up to the microphone and spoke with calm strength. I know some of you are surprised, she said. I didn't come from money. I didn't go to an elite school. But I came from hard work. And I care about this company. Because I care about people. She paused. If you work with honesty, you'll have my full support. If you work with greed, there's the door. Silence. Then, applause. Slow at first, then louder and louder. A hidden letter from Mr. Grant. That evening, Lena found a small drawer in her new desk. It was locked, but she remembered the key Mr. Grant had sent her. She opened it and found a handwritten letter. It said, Dear Lena, I never had children, but if I had a daughter, I'd want her to be like you, strong, kind, and honest. I'm leaving behind my company, but more importantly, I'm leaving behind a second chance for it to do good. In the file below, you'll find charities I supported secretly. Continue them. Also, look behind the old painting on the wall. Confused, Lena looked at the painting of a mountain. Behind it, she found a safe. Inside was a thick envelope, labeled the Hope Fund. It was a private bank account, with $75 million, meant only for helping the poor, sick and voiceless. Lena cried. Lena's new mission. In the weeks that followed, Lena used the Hope Fund to build free clinics in poor neighborhoods, scholarships for underprivileged children, mental health centers for struggling workers, emergency, support for abused women and children. The world started to talk about the kind CEO who used her power for good. Reporters came from all over. But Lena stayed humble. She wasn't interested in being famous. She only wanted to make things better. A full circle moment. One evening, Lena left the office late. Rain was falling. As she stepped outside, she saw a teenage boy, cold, wet, and hungry, sitting near the alley, just like Mr. Grant once had. Lena didn't hesitate. She gave him her coat, took him inside, got him food, called a shelter, and as he looked up at her with grateful eyes, she smiled softly. Someday, she whispered, you'll help someone too. That's how it keeps going. Final message to the audience. In the end, Lena didn't just inherit a company. She inherited a responsibility. To lead not with fear, but with heart. To build not with greed, but with hope. And to show the world that one act of kindness can change everything.